You can't control everything the world says about you, but you can control what you are repeatedly saying to yourself. And what you believe about yourself and what you say to yourself will get validated in your daily interactions, whether that's good or bad. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Role Model Podcast. I'm your host, Derek Peterson, and today I'm going to be talking about daily affirmations, the work that keeps on working. And there's a reason for that. So, in my first podcast of this series, I started with a catalyst event. The catalyst event is that moment in all of our lives where shit gets bad enough that we really need to change it. Immediately following that, we deal with coping mechanisms. So what things do we use to actually run from change? Because we have to eliminate those things from our life. If you want to be different, you've got to act different. And part of that is changing your behavior. And we all cope with something. It's recognizing what we cope with, what things bring out healthy coping in us. All of that is absolutely critical. So understanding those things brings us into healthy habits like journaling, which is what I talked about on the last episode. Journaling is just taking stock of what you're thinking about, like randomly writing stuff down that's popping into your head to make sure that you understand what's going on a little bit in your subconscious mind. And today, daily affirmations is now we've taken stock of what's going on in our subconscious. So now let's change it. So, what happens when the voice that you hear more than any other voice in the world is constantly telling you that you're a piece of shit? That is the crux of it. Most of us, if you're, a millennial or, basically born in the 70s and 80s, a lot of us grew up in similar situations. If you were in the middle class or poor, is just that our parents worked. Most of them were gone all the time. We had a number of siblings. There was a lot of time spent without parental supervision, which means a lot of our feedback loop was peers. And peers, if you have kids, you understand, especially if you have middle school age kids now, which I do, can be fucking terrible. And they're awful to each other. So we write a lot of negative things into our subconscious at a very early age. I don't know how much I fully realized this until my catalyst event, the day of my daughter's birthday party. I got home and I was stomping through the house that night. And if you watched that episode, it was just this moment where for the first time in my life, I had, contemplated pulling into oncoming traffic, and I get home and I'm like, this shit has got to change. I actually need to do something about what's going on. I immediately dumped out all the alcohol in my house, deleted social media, and just started writing stuff down. But just prior to all of that, there was probably an hour to 2 hours of me stomping through the house like a giant baby, just screaming at myself and at God. And one of the things that came out in these moments was just times that I would lay on the floor and I would catch myself saying things like, I'm fat, or I'm dumb, or I don't deserve, nobody loves me, nobody cares about me, no one's ever loved me, I don't deserve love. All of these thoughts that just kind of like streaming through my head were coming out in the ugliest ways. And it's these moments when we're pressed to the brink that I think what we actually believe about ourselves start to come out. And these were all things that were written into my subconscious at a very early age. So like my parents weren't around a lot growing up, and, I was around kids in Utah, and I wasn't Mormon, and I was overweight. So I was bullied at school constantly. And when I wasn't being bullied at school, I was being bullied at home by my older brother and his friends, and being told the same things. And so when the world, as a, 6 to 10, 11-year-old, when you start to be told over and over again that you're dumb, you're fat, you don't belong, and then people continually validate those life situations, you start to believe it, and you write these things into your subconscious. So that was 1,000% the case for me. This is exactly what happened. And so I'd been writing these things in my subconscious forever, and obviously just leaving them you know, unaddressed. They'd just been controlling so much of my life and my decision making up to that point. So fast forward to 2016, 2017. I'm going through a divorce, but I also was going to a real estate conference, a sales conference called Ninja. And at this Ninja conference, the woman that was running the conference stood up and she had us write down a number of what we wanted to earn for the next year. So how much money did you want to make the next year in real estate? So everybody wrote down a number, right? And mine was realistic. I kind of knew. I was like, oh, if I grow, 20% year over year, this is what I'll make. That'll be great. So she said, take your number and double it. And I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, that'd be fucking great if I made that. And then she was like, this is your number. And now what you're going to do is you're going to take out a legal pad of paper and you're going to write down on every line of this legal pad of paper, I love making that number next year. I love making that number next year. What this did was it assumes that it's already happening. So the subconscious mind can't take a joke. And you hear this, if you meet somebody that's super self-deprecating, you start to realize this pretty quickly is that, yeah, it's true. Almost everything, like self-deprecating humor can be funny, but once it goes past a certain point with people, you're like, oh, you really believe these things about yourself. Like it becomes more sad than it is funny. And this is exactly what happens with your subconscious beliefs about yourself, is that initially changing them, one, most of them are very limited to what we believe about ourselves. And what I noticed when I started writing these is just that the initial reaction was like, I don't think I can make, I don't know if I deserve it. It felt weird. It felt wrong. I was like, something was off. And then the more and more I did it, it started to become real. But these daily affirmations are conflicting with what's going on in your subconscious mind. So at first there's going to be tension about writing it. And it honestly almost felt dumb. I was like, why am I doing this? And then the more and more I started to write it and say it out loud, the more and more I started to realize like, oh, there's something telling me that I don't believe I can do this. Which to that, she explained, that's exactly what's going on in your subconscious. You will use all of your experiences in real estate to validate the fact that you can't make the money and do the deals that you want to do if your subconscious doesn't believe that you can do it. We have to rewire that aspect of us. And it takes months, if not years. So the commitment at that time was doing it for 30 to 60 days on a notepad. And over the course of the next couple of years, I did exactly that. I doubled my income, which was freaking amazing. So fast forward to this night in my house, I started to realize that I needed to combat the things I was telling myself. So my first personal affirmation became, I am loved for exactly who I am. So it's present tense. It's happening now. It's something that I can sit in and feel in the moment, which is critical. So it has a time frame. It's positive. There's no negative. So one of the things she said about daily affirmations is that you don't want it to, if it's building to this thing, then there's still in the underlying belief. And if you have a negative subconscious belief that you can't do something, then if you write a daily affirmation is that I will do this thing, the will part of it, like I will, the future action of that is the thing that will give your subconscious mind an out. Basically, that is the thing that will actually allow you to not change the subconscious belief about yourself. So it has to be present tense and as if it's already happened. So I am loved for exactly who I am. It's present tense. It's already happened. And I started to just write these affirmations over and over again. I committed to the first one, I committed to 3 months every day. I would do it. And it did. It started to lift my heart. It started to really change some things about what I believed about myself, which was incredible. And then I started attacking my intelligence. Like, I am smart enough and capable enough to do these things. And I just started to map out all of these daily affirmations. And based off my journaling, I kind of started to really key in on the things that were holding me back, the things that were kind of rolling around in my head all of the time, the negative things that would just continually pop up, all of the self-talk. And I was like, I'm going to change this about myself. So every morning, the journaling and the daily affirmations work together to ultimately to change that. And you have to pay attention to the way you talk about yourself, because how you talk about yourself is ultimately what you will start believing about yourself. And I think I want to leave you with this thought. So you can't control everything the world says about you, but you can control what you are repeatedly saying to yourself. And what you believe about yourself and what you say to yourself will get validated in your daily interactions, whether that's good or bad. So you have to shift your focus to the good. If your if your subconscious beliefs are negative, all of your interactions with people and experiences are going to get filtered through this lens. And when ultimately it feels like a negative situation, all it's going to do is validate that subconscious belief. And these take years to change. This was a lot of work. And to be honest, not all of them are even fixed for me. I have still a lot of work to do, and I still do it not as consistently as I did for the first 3 or 4 years I was doing this, but I still regularly go back to it because I have to when I catch new things that I've really got to change and focus on myself. But your daily interactions will begin to validate these subconscious beliefs. And that ultimately is what steamrolls and starts to snowball change. So the more positive you think about yourself and the more you love yourself, the more you'll start to validate those things through daily interactions and daily, procedures and work and all the things that you do, which ultimately then just continues to build on this positive momentum of just, building a better life for yourself. So that's what we're here for, right? To be the role model that we wish we had growing up. So until next time, thanks for checking in. Don't like or subscribe. That'd be super weird. But if you can click it, do that, which I keep telling myself I need to put that at the beginning, but whatever. We'll see y'all next time.